It's so frustrating to be woke. It is so painful to be woke because you see all of the injustices in the world, but you feel incredibly helpless and powerless because so many people are just stupid and they don't get it. You could explain to people how predatory like capitalism is, how people being homeless is a systemic failure, not somebody being too lazy, right? You could explain people of all of that, and then they are still too dumb to understand that they are actually not part of the privileged group and they're also suffering. And if billionaires would be taxed properly to the point of billionaires not being able to exist, then their life standards would improve drastically as well. And it's not just about the refugees who are taking all of the money and stealing it, and there's like so much fraud. The fraud in the government is like the actual government, the actual billionaires, the tech oligarchs. Those are the ones doing the fraud. Those are the ones who are not paying their taxes because the stock market isn't actually real money, but I can buy all of these companies with it and I can buy all of these things, but actually it's not real money, so you shouldn't be taxed of it. Or you have like, you know, generational wealth transferred through like different means of like, oh, we're just donating everything to a charity. You notice all of these things and these people are like, no, actually the problem is the trans girl that is like participating in girls' schools and actually having girls' sports with other girls. That is the real problem. And if the government is taking away trans rights, then that is empowering me. It is so frustrating to live in a world where you understand what is happening and to have people around you who are just stupid and they just don't want to get it because they think, if I work hard enough, eventually I will be put in a position of power as well, and then you people would like take this away, and then actually communism never works. Capitalism, it is working as intended and everybody's suffering except the top 1%. You will never be a top. In your entire life, you will never be part of the top 1%. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many minimum wage jobs you take. You will never get to the top. You will always be with us at the bottom. And then you explain these things to these people and they are like, no, actually, it is incredibly difficult to punch upwards. And I feel very good about myself if I'm miserable and I make other people feel worse because I'm in the social hierarchy higher up. It is so exhausting to be woke. I wish I wouldn't have a brain. I wouldn't critically think about the world. I wouldn't understand like geopolitical systems and how things are like intertwined. It's complicated. It's a shit show because the people in positions of power are corrupt freaks who are just profiting off of making other people feel shittier. And you see what is happening. You see the injustice of the world. And you have to fight. You have to fight against the mainstream opinion of, you know, being an abusive piece of shit because you hope that if you push back against it, then more people are going to wake up and they're going to fight with you. And then things are making progress despite conservatives fighting so hard to go back to the 1800s. Because you know that in human history, all of the progress was made because people pushed against the mainstream, against the status quo, against what is considered normal. There were always people who pushed back. And sometimes you just need to be an anime foxgirl on the internet and fight for this minimum amount of progress. Because what else am I going to do? I already see the injustice in the world. I'm already part of a marginalized group and I see what is happening. What else am I going to do except talk about these things and infect other people with a woke mind virus so they understand why they are suffering? It is not all of these marginalized groups that are the reason why you can't afford healthcare, why you can't afford a house, why you can't afford your rent. Why do landlords get away with continuously raising rent while the minimum wage stays low? You are working more, you can't afford shit. You don't have time for anything, you can't afford to go on a vacation because you literally just get exploited on every end. And then you have like a subscription deal and like, you know, they need to raise their prices because of inflation, which is just profiting the rich because your minimum wage is not getting raised. And you see all of the things that are happening. You see how like stupid everybody is, how the people in positions of power don't do anything. Like if you look at like US politics and you look at like Democrats in position of power, you know, they're going to like write a strong worded letter. If one more ICE agent is going to kill maybe 15 more white men, you know, then it's going to be finally over. Trump is going to be 50% done. Midterm elections, it's going to be 200% done, actually. We are going to send a candidate who is very moderate. Being woke is so fucking tiring. But like, what else are you going to do? You can't just go into doomerism, right? You see all of the injustice in the world. You see how things are getting periodically worse, how the news cycle is so quick that it's just like you can't even keep up with all the shitty things that are happening right now. But like, you can't just give up. You can't just let down other people who are fighting with you. You still have like a community to like, you know, back you up and suffer with you because we are all awake while everybody else is asleep. And these people are so brainwashed that they like have these power fantasies. You know, they imagine themselves in like the position of like some ICE agent who's going after like a protester and like beating them up because that makes them feel big and strong. Oh, they are not kissing the boot. They are the boot. They are wearing the boot actually, and they are going to stomp on all the trans people, all of the immigrants, everybody who doesn't look exactly like them deserves to get stomped on, and it makes them feel strong. It makes powerless, miserable freaks feel like they have some form of power for the first time in their lives. So they imagine themselves as like the ICE agent going in there, ganging up on people. Oh, they have federal immunity. Actually, it's very okay for them to go after, to jump people who are merely just filming them, put them on like the terrorist watch list, and then publicly execute them because the government is going to defend them anyways. On social media, people are going to clap if you're being transphobic. Oh, that makes you feel very big, very strong if you can bully trans kids into suicide. Fucking hell. It is so exhausting. But like, what else are you going to do? You can't just give up. Society makes progress despite all of the shit that is happening. Because of people like us, who are still vocal, who are still there, who still exist, who still survive despite everything. It is so easy to grift to the right, to be a shitty person and to exploit everything. It would be so easy for me to sit here and be like, actually, you know, I was groomed into being trans and trans kids don't exist and don't deserve healthcare. And then you have like, you know, shitty people like platform that and boost that because like, hey, fascists love their tokens because they can weaponize them against the marginalized groups that they hate. The same when it comes to TERFs. They love exploiting miserable, misogynistic women who are so brainwashed and have been abused into believing that they're actually inferior, and it's natural for them to be abused by awful men. It is so easy to take them, to platform them, to make them feel powerful because then they can go after trans women. Oh, for the first time, actually, all of their abusers are patting them on their back. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that crazy how much money is being pumped into like stupid people, given a mic so they can sit there and be like, you know, the people of Somaliland, they're actually just all fraudsters. Actually, I can't read and I just made up this theory. They have like multiple wives and a huge family and then they steal from the taxpayers. Here's your podcast. Here, actually, get invited to the White House. Go sit in front of Congress and state how much fraud is going on. And if you're a leftist, you're going to get silenced. Or you weren't pro-Israel. Or you're not supporting it. Side, actually, we gotta ban you. You've been getting a little bit too loud. You've been infecting too many people with the woke mind virus. You gotta like settle down. But like, hey, people have empathy. People have compassion. And history is going to look back and they're going to be thankful that people like us existed. Progress is going to be made. We've just been dealing with like the generation again that is going to live through major historic events, because that is just, you know, it's the time again. It's a cycle and it repeats itself. We love the 7 stages of civilization, and we're in the part where, you know, things are kind of crumbling, but things are going to get better. And if you're in the world, if you're living, if you're surviving, and you find a community, and you're able to live your authentic life, despite all of these challenges, despite everything that is like happening in the world around you, life is worth living. That was my rant. That was my TED Talk. I hope you enjoyed my TED Talk. Being woke is hard.